Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
Thank you very much, Your Grace. Mr. President, it's now my rare honor and privilege to call upon the President to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Secretary to the Cabinet. Let me first recognize the Bishop, leader of our United Church of Zambia, United Church UCZ, and your delegation. We welcome you here to Senate House. Very pleased to have you here. I want to acknowledge the Minister of Commerce, who, as I hinted at beginning, today is wearing a different hat, but he's just shifted a bit in cabinet. He sits there, so he's just sitting here today. But Minister, you recognize the cabinet and the team. We acknowledge your presence. Let me start by acknowledging and offering once more our condolences to you, the church, to us as a nation, for the loss of our sixth president, President Lungu. Death is a mystery. Only one understands that mystery. He who gives us life, he who takes life. When? Only he knows. How? Only he knows. We are all vulnerable or susceptible to that. And I'm very delighted that today we're having this interaction with the church, our church, UCZ, and some of its leadership, and to indicate to you that we're warmly pleased with your election, your ascension to the office, high office of running this big church. You and your team, congratulations. Congratulations. Leading is not easy. Genuine and serious leadership is not easy. It's not a joke. It's not, people say, for us, politics is a game. I disagree. It's a serious obligation. So we know the obligations, a little bit that you assumed, and we wish you well in that agenda. Our prayers may not be as strong as yours, but we pray for you. And thank you for praying for us. Thank you very much. Let me also acknowledge the issues you raised. I'm a perpetual student myself, and I tell my cabinet colleagues that learning is daily. Every day, every month, all year round, as long as God has given us, allowed us to breathe His air. So I'm very grateful to the issues you brought to this meeting. I wasn't quite sure, we weren't quite sure what issues you were bringing, because I think this meeting was instigated by yourself. Minister has been working on it, and I apologize that it took long. It shouldn't take long, this long, because we are one. We're one team. So thank you for the number of issues you raised, the way you see things as a church. I see commonality in many areas. The church and the government serve the same people. Absolutely the same community. This government is drawn at cabinet level from all churches, many, let me not say all, many churches. This minister is usually that secretary of the cabinet is Catholic. This fellow seated here is SDA. And many others. But we are consoled in the realization that the body of Christ is one. And I heard you talk about diversity. The unity that really should prevail and never should be split because of that diversity. Religion, the language we speak, how we twist our tongues. For some, that is so important to them that they are willing to divide the country. And I think for us, that's a gift from God. It's part of the diversity. And we should cherish it, we should celebrate it. And take advantage of those small positive slants in the differentials in the culture, in the values. When we bring them together, we become a solid church. We become a solid nation. These are my beliefs. In my sins of the past as a business person, one of the businesses we ran was a partnership. And we had partners from all parts of the country. Some were white, some were Indian. We worked and ran a good business together and recognize our differences as our strength. In the training that we have, our staff and all of us, in our upbringing. So I'm just underscoring the convergence in the messaging you're giving. So we take that box. We're very grateful for that partnership. The church and government can never be competitors. I have noticed over months, years, that there is a deliberate effort by a few to polarize the church and the government. It's not possible. It's not sustainable. Because you will find that when you say this government doesn't support the church, which church? Which government? Isolate the government. They all come from different churches. So, who are you accusing? Really, we should veer off that and focus on the things that bring us together, which are more than the things that are perceived to be driving us away from each other. Even in difficult circumstances, like what we are faced with now. If we front love, as we have said, we agree, we front the importance of unity, we front understanding, tolerance, patience, to hear out each other, we'll be okay. It's a state of mind, it's a frame of mind. I believe that there's a solution to everything, and that solution should not come from acrimony, should not come from shouting. That's why you notice that a lot of shouting goes on, and you never hear me respond. Rarely, maybe, but largely no. Because if we join in that fray, we are all viewed as part of one package. So we're very grateful for your principles, your values, as our youth said. Very grateful. Let me return to the partnership. Health. I'm very enthused to hear the list, the locations from which you operate. Education. This church, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is in just one of your schools. My young sister went to just. And we knew this work you are doing long before for me I assumed leadership. We knew what UCZ was doing to us as families. And the institutions you run are generally excellent institutions. And many kids in our area would love as girls to go to just. Unfortunately, it was only for girls. I believe maybe some of us would have been found there. So we want to also acknowledge this service you are rendering to the nation. The very community I'm talking about, or being one. In health, I've touched on it. Chipendi is another clear star of the church in your portfolio. And if the Minister of Education was here, he would have been smiling. He sits in that chair somewhere there. And he uses in our cabinet meetings Chipendi. Uses it, Chipendi. He sits there. Secretary to the cabinet knows. This minister knows. So you can see how your government values this church. But it values this church and other churches because of your works. Where I was raised, there is a saying that you love people for their works, how they behave, how they conduct themselves. Because when you're hungry, you can't cut them into pieces and cook them in the pot and eat. So what you eat is their work. Perocchio, everybody explain it in another language. If I said it in Tonga, you'll understand. Huh? But I'm sure others have similar things. So I want to confirm here that this government places great importance on health, on education, health. You acknowledge our free education. 2 million kids went back to school after we pronounced the free education policy. 2 million. Now ask yourselves the question, what were those kids going to be if we did not bring free education as a policy? What were they going to be? Those are God's children, and their parents, their guardians couldn't afford education, the cost of education. They are now back to school. School feeding program, meal allowances for kids in certain colleges, more bursaries, more student loans. We are completely aligned. Health, first education, that's why we employ more teachers, building more classrooms. Ask your leaders across the country what's happening in construction of schools, health centers, water and sanitation. And I want not to belabor the point to say, we want to further our partnership with this church because it's saving the very people that the government should be providing those services. So I am not sure how it is organized with yourselves, but we want to say to you, this government, when the church needs the teachers, will make teachers available. And pay them, because it has saved the government to build another school around where you are. But the government, as your partners, must provide. Same with the health centers, where the church needs a nurse. I do believe it's happening already. But if there's more needed, please let us know. Because that's what we're doing to Catholic schools, I can say it here. That's what we're doing to other church schools. It's the approach of this government that we need to improve education and health. I want to invite you, this church, specifically, not generically, specifically, when a church school, a church health service needs water, please use the CDF facility, constituent development fund. And my colleagues here, Minister, you're here, he runs a constituency. Why wouldn't you approve a CDF application for water at a clinic run by you in your constituency? You should. Or a school. So I want to encourage you, because I see a bit of a distrust. We're failing to communicate to the government properly that these services, these funds are meant for the community. Who is the community? It includes the church. So I want to make it clear here, Bishop, please have someone in your management structure at national leadership cascaded to the provinces, someone to a grassroots, so they can link with our government programs such as CDF for infrastructure, which includes health, education, water, sanitation. I don't see a problem that this is a school needs water or additional water. We sink a borehole through that facility, we put a solar through that facility, reticulation, because that's the intention of that facility. Taking money from Lusaka, where most of the money for years was being consumed, and consumed, you know what I'm going to say next, inefficient. I would have said corrupt. That true is true. So our intention was to take a chunk of that money, 36.1 million per constituency per year, to the local areas where the churches are operating from, and they should access those facilities there. And when they do, they will serve the community better. As I said, teacher-pupil ratio is very important to get the kids to learn properly. Other facilities I've talked about, health. That, I think, is a practical way of deepening our partnership. Because you talked about working together, isn't it? And being specific. My message, I think, should be taken forward by having a small group. This is what we're doing with other churches. We select a small group here. It works with ourselves as a presidential delivery unit. I've also ministry, so that we can tie the two together. Bishop Chulu and myself with a small team. Then that small team will be working on a live basis. Not because we have met, but as routine. In Borokoso, in Chama, in Senanga, in wherever. And I think that will be quicker and more practical. I want to indicate to you that I am very sorry about the NH project. I'm listening to you carefully. You saw me looking over this side. These colleagues know when I look over this side, I'm sending a message. Why would we delay the NH project, which is in line with our vision? The funding is there. So I want to say, Bishop Chulu, we'll pick it up after this meeting. Give me a contact here, and I'll give you a contact here to Secretary of Cabinet. Today, we'll pick up this issue. Because the church needs the power. But more important, the country needs the power. Because the quantities you're talking about will go on the grid. What you generate minus what you consume, the rest will go on the grid, isn't it? So, we are in need. And you heard the President say, we have reformed the NSS. Independent power producers like yourselves, like what you see in December, 100 megawatts. Independent traders, open access. Whatever you produce, if we can put it on the grid, it will also not just supply power, but it generate the church resources. The church needs to raise money in a sustainable way, rather than in challenging ways where we politicians want to pay churches, so that we can influence them. The church of this credibility, I think, needs to be encouraged. Because I'm an entrepreneur myself. To be encouraged to enterprise and to raise resources so you can continue evangelists to encourage you. That's the connection. So I don't want to belabor this point. I'm very sorry about that situation. I'll make a follow-up and it will happen. By end of today, you will get a notice where is the issue and how we unlock it. That's more important, isn't it? So we get it right. We want to thank you for responding to that. But also climate change issues you talked about. This solar qualifies in that area. We also want to ask you, since you've done a lot in other areas, health, education, now, please, food production is important. We want to encourage the church. Some of your colleagues have farms. I do believe you may have some land as a church. I want to encourage you to produce, to irrigate, so we don't have to rely on the rain. I'm sure you've heard my messaging on irrigation. And again, with programs here, is another area of interaction. The government has programs to support water hazards for irrigation. We have sustainable agriculture, financing facilities. For your public sector workers who are UCZ members, we have a financing facility in the government called, Kangwa, remind me? Public finance, let me call it financing scheme. Please encourage them. They work for government, central, local, they qualify to access money for agriculture support at 9% only. But when it's discussed by the church, I think they'll wake up and say, the church is aware of this issue. So this interaction will make this information known so that you can distribute it. So we look at different angles from which the church can come to help in agriculture. Mainly, so when we have a drought next time, 3 years from now, we should still have food security. We should have energy security. One drought, West drought, in living memory decapitated us. I think God was slapping us on the left cheek, the right cheek to wake up. And your government has woken up in partnership with yourselves in energy. Now I'm saying in agriculture. That's the call I'm making. So you followed, I was in Chikuni mission, which is the Catholic mission. I offered personally to help them revive a farm which was established in 1905. During a missionary who came there, and then the farm has gone down. Right now we're waiting on reviving that. I offer personally to support if the church has any farming activity of that nature. We're doing the same with the SDS. In Rusango, the two missions are next to each other. Maybe that's why sometimes they appear like they're competing. The two missions were all established in the same year, 1905, 1905. Just a few kilometers apart, on a river, Magoya River separates us. But the message is that we would like to work with the church in that space as well. Government, but also private. For me, that is the pleasure I get if I can support to provide seed. Not food for the table, but seed, which will lead to food forever. Two are different. I wanted to indicate these things, and I think Mr. Kangwa, in the cabinet, a lot has been said. I want to appreciate the issues around peace, security, stability, land. We're a Christian nation. If you look at the amount of hatred on social media, you wonder, are we failing? We just pronounce Christianity by name. We should live like true Christians. But thank you for this message. We share the message. Thank you for encouragement. I talked about the drought already. We will not be in the same situation as a country when the drought comes again, because we are doing things. I want to close by saying that the church should not hesitate when there's an issue. They need to be addressed. Good or bad, does not matter. is how we approach each other, is how we reach out to each other. So the government your government is open for issues, even challenges. I want to also suggest that it's unfortunate, that the country is going through this difficult situation during the mourning period of our sixth president. And I want to repeat our desire, and I think it's a fair desire, that the sixth president is buried here, in his homeland, his home, a place of birth. Two things that were sacred: birth, death. I think it's the correct thing to do. You've seen the to and fro, the tussling. I don't think it's necessary. With 5 presidents that have left us, by the choice of the people of Zambia, they are all lying next to each other. It's not my choice. It's the people of Zambia's choice. President is an asset of the family, but he's also an asset of the nation, by which of having agreed to serve in this high office. You give away certain things. So it's not just the citizen. He was the head of state. And if somebody says there were issues, yes, there are always issues. But in death, we converge to honor the dead, to bury them. Discipline for the president with all the honors, military honors. After the burial, we talk about anything we are unhappy about. President Chiluba had legal challenges. You all know. But when he passed on, we buried him. The legal challenges around him did not constrain us. My colleague, sixth president, is the only president who left public office. 2 died in office. But those who left public office and lived on, is the only one who died with his immunity intact. I know you may have not paid attention to that. President Kawanda's immunity was taken away by President Chiluba. President Chiluba's immunity was taken away by President Mwanawasa. President Mwanawasa died in office. President Sata died in office. President Banda's immunity was taken away by the people. You may have forgotten. This is the first president who died with his immunity. I never got enticed to process removal of immunity. I said, no, we must put a break to this. And there you are. I just wanted to use this opportunity to express this wish. If we fail to bury him here so that the citizens can honor him, who elected him twice in the high office of the presidency, it will not be because this government didn't want to. It's because of other issues beyond our control. I thought I owe this to you, Bishop Chu, and this gracious team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.